Welcome to the tutorial for Tiny Toon Adventures Buster Bust Loose for the Super Nintendo. And yeah, this is a good game. Similar to the Genesis version made by Konami, but a completely different game. I figured I'd try to detail some of what I'm doing. The controls, the only really, the game's pretty easy to moderate, but there's some hard parts. And the reason that they're hard, I'd recommend mapping drop kick to A, as shown here. The only really hard part is there's some trial and error type of memorization. So there's that, and also getting used to some of the controls is a little odd with the dashing. So I'll explain how all that works. You can't really see that in the video, so I figured this one would be worth explaining a little bit. The hardest level for me was the second level. So I'd say once you get past that, you're pretty close to beating the game. On normal, you have 5 continues with 3 lives each, and you do earn a lot of 1-ups. But if you run out of your 5 continues, then you start the game over. And, of course, if you waste all your lives, then you start at the beginning of the last stage you got to. The game is deceptive in that it shows passwords on the... it shows a password function on the screen, but normal doesn't have a password function, so... There are no passwords for normal. If you're playing on easy, I think that's where the passwords come into play, which is a strange design choice. And there is a password for unlimited continues. I guess you can use that on normal. I'm not even sure if it might even put you on easy if you do that password. But I don't I don't really like doing that. I'd rather just play the game as it comes at default, pretty much. I mean, if it would have let me add more lives and stuff, I would have ramped up all that shit. But part of the game is the limited continues on this mode. So yeah, there's a dash button. It's either your L or R trigger or bumper, and when you hit that, you'll start running until you press back on the directional pad or jump and try to stop it. You have to kind of skid to a stop. It can be very touchy. But once you press it once, you'll keep running until that bar runs out or until you stop it by trying to skid. So keep that in mind. For that guy, all you got to do is just loop him in a combo. You can loop these enemies in these combos. You can pretty much do it for any normal enemy, even the ones that take a lot of hits. You can just get them in a loop where you hit them and then do it again and just keep hitting them again and again and again. The reason it works is because there seems to be invincibility frames in the attack. So, like when you do the attack, it's almost like a dodge and attack at the same time because it's invincible somewhat. So you can use that to also dodge and attack simultaneously. So, while you're attacking, you're also dodging. So, some tricks with that. And you can loop it on the regular enemies. A lot of them, you can... But everything there was pretty self-explanatory, so I won't try to detail every little thing. For this, this is just a matter of bumping the food into his mouth. And when he goes into his tornado form, stay in one of the side doors and you won't take damage. It's very easy, you just got to be a little patient. I like staying all the way on the bottom floor because eventually I get all that shit in his mouth, so I like staying on the bottom floor and just bumping the shit. If he moves down, I'll move through one of the doors. I don't like playing the whole game with going through all the different doors because they're all differently color-coded. The colors match up with each other. So if you go in a green door, you come out of a green exit. If you go in a red door, you come out of a red exit, etc. But I don't like doing all that shit and playing around with the doors, so I just like to stay at the bottom. I usually like to try to find simpler ways to do things. I'd rather just wait a little bit longer and just wait for him to get the food in his mouth. It's very easy to stay away from him and not get hit down here, so it's not a problem. Yeah, when he does that, just stay in one of the doors, and that's pretty much it. You want to bump it in the direction that he's walking towards, so you want it to bump into his mouth, but that's about it. I dance around the doors a little bit just to stay away from him, not get hit, but yeah, that's about it. I'm not sure how many pieces of food it takes, but it doesn't take too long, maybe 9 pieces or something like that. I think where this tutorial is really going to help, that's not shown as the video, is explaining how some of the controls work. That's going to be a big thing. And like I said, a lot of the challenge, the next level is going to be quite hard compared to the rest of the game. So, if you can beat that, you'll be on track to beat the rest of the game. The rest of the game is not that hard after the second level. Second level is going to require some memorization. You know, you're going to have to just memorize. You can't really react and beat it on the first time. I mean, unless you got really lucky. But it took me some trial and error to understand exactly how the game wanted me to do it. So all I can really say with that is follow what you see in the video as far as when I jump, when I dash, etc. in the next level, and that'll be how to do it. I don't really need to explain that too much because it'll all be shown. But there are some control nuances that are worth explaining. I'll definitely explain it a little bit later. Yeah, and that's it for this boss. And between levels, you get these little bonus games. I mean, they're all easy, and some of them are more luck-based, it seems, and you can get a decent amount of one-ups in these little games. So you are given, a nice amount of one-ups and a lot of continues. So even though it doesn't have unlimited continues, once you learn the game, you're not going to have a problem beating it. I had a lot of lives and maybe 3 continues remaining and maybe 9 or 10 lives when I beat it. So it wasn't bad. I would have drained all the lives if I didn't know what to do on some parts. So, there is trial and error. You got to take your time to practice some stuff. I would use save states and load states to practice sections that are giving you trouble. That's generally what I do in all my older game playthroughs. And I guess for this, you just kind of try to grab these people and stay away from the... They're not really fucking people. But yeah, you try to grab these little characters and you got to stay away from the other characters. You don't want to get touched by the enemy. So you get some one-ups, just by running around, fucking around here. And then once the time's out, that's it. But, you can get it. I mean, I don't know if I get... I think I got maybe 3 one-ups. It was a decent little... one-up run. But you're not really going to need a lot of these one-ups, like I said. It's not that... it's kind of hard to fuck up once you know the game a little bit. So, it's probably not going to get too tense for most players once they know what to do. I mean, it's tough. It can be tough initially if you don't know what to do, obviously. But, this is the second stage. This is the hardest stage that for me, it was the hardest stage. And there was a football stage that gave me trouble, too, until I figured out... I should say Bob Ruppels. I had him play, and he figured out a good way to catch the ball consistently. So I'll explain all that later. But yeah, this, you just jump on this, this fucking rope like 10 times or something. It's kind of just a waste of time. And then they'll let you off to the next little section. You can fuck around with the horses, and I think they'll launch you in the air, and you can get stars and stuff like that. But I didn't care about that. You're not going to need, the stars just give you one-ups if you collect 100 of them. And once you know the game, you're not going to need to worry about getting a bunch of one-ups. You'll be able to get through. They give you plenty of lives, so it's optional. I like to dash to the right after killing one of the dogs. I got stuck on the stairs there, but after killing the dog, I'll dash to the right and then jump out and just grab the carrot, and you'll get your life back. Watch out for the barrels coming down. Obviously, take your time with that. See how the barrel hit me while I was coming out of my attack, and I was invincible and didn't take any damage. Keep that in mind because, like I said, the attack makes you invincible during the attack. Now, you can get hit as soon as you land out of the attack, obviously, but you can use the attack itself to be invincible and deal damage at the same time, and you're going to want to use that in a variety of parts. That's just a good thing to know about the game. So, yeah, take out these assholes, and then once you get up here, just be aware that there's going to be these nets that come by. This is going to be all trial and error, so practice this with save states. Even... practice it in sections with save states. Like if you've mastered the first half of the level, make a save halfway through the level and practice that half. You know what I mean? Practice segments of it until you get it all down, then put it together. That's how I do this kind of shit. And that's what I did. But yeah, so for the nets, just jump over those nets. If they capture you, I don't think there's any way to escape them, and you just instantly die. There's a lot of instant death here. So dash when it says dash. I like to dash and jump to catch onto that wall. And then you want to follow it exactly like I'm doing it. Jump when I jump, dash as I dash. Once you hit the dash button, you're staying in dash mode, because every time you grab one of those bird statues, you get it refills your dash meter, so you can continue to dash. So you're going to be dashing that whole time once you hit dash. So just worry about making your jumps. Don't worry about pressing the dash button again. If you press it again, you may stop dashing and fuck it all up. So just keep that in mind. Press dash once, and he'll automatically dash and grab onto the walls and run up the walls and shit like that. You just got to concentrate on where you jump, pretty much. For this part, make sure you kill the asshole enemies. And I made the mistake of trying to jump off before I could make it. So make sure you can see the next car peeping out. You know, the next train car, you got to see it peeping out of the screen a decent amount so you can catch onto it and jump onto it. So make sure you got, a good visual on it before you launch. For that part, do not... you got to dash and jump when you see that Roadrunner, but don't do it until you see the Roadrunner. Otherwise, you'll be too early or too late. So wait till the Roadrunner dashes off that cart, and then follow his lead. Dash, hit the dash to the right, and then jump and catch onto that wall and just keep running, and you'll beat it. Also, keep in mind that if the edge of the screen goes over your character, you automatically die. So for those carts, when you're jumping from cart to cart, stay in the middle of the cart. Don't go all the way to the back of the cart. I mean, you'll learn that anyway after you lose a life. I mean, you're going to have to practice this anyway, but you want to stay in the middle of the cart and get ready to dash and jump as the cart, the next one is peeping out enough for you to jump on top of it. If you can't see it on the screen, you won't be able to make the jump. Yeah, so this guy is very easy. Just you can get him in a combo like I was talking about. If he's off screen, don't try to hit him. He'll just hit you. You won't even land the hit. So just make sure he's on screen. Get him on screen and just dodge his little attack and just keep using your little invincible attack that you have. Exploit that. It's very easy. This is very simple, but just don't get anxious. Make sure you jump when these blocks appear on the screen. If you try to do them early, you'll most likely die. For this, you can also use the dash to make that extra jump at the end if you need it. The dash will give you a little extra jump distance. So if you hit dash in midair, you'll get a little extra jump distance. Keep that in mind, to use when you need it. For that white polar guy, very easy. For this part, I like to just get in here and take the hit from the birds, because that shit is really annoying when you scroll off screen and instantly die because of those moving pillars. Because the bird will knock you back and then you'll end up dying because the screen will move over your character and kill you. So I'd rather just rush in, possibly take a hit, and just get to the end of the area. Because now you'll have a checkpoint. You'll be launched over to the boss area where you'll get a checkpoint. So that's how I like to play that. I would rather just take the damage. This part is extremely easy if you know what to do, and I'll explain it. Follow my positioning in this part. You want to stand, let that steam be in the gap between you and the burner that you're striking. And just keep doing it. That steam cannot hurt you as long as you stay where I'm talking about right there. The steam cannot touch you. So just keep attacking. Don't worry about waiting for the steam to go down. Just keep attacking. For this part, keep that fire in between you and the large chimney or whatever the fuck it is, and just keep attacking. And, duck is needed for the fireball, but remember, you can also attack while the fireball is shooting out at you because you have those invincibility frames. So if you time it right, you can still attack while it's shooting at you, and that's what I did there. Now, these fire and this steam, it only hurts you when it's at full size. So when you see it kind of like partially burning, it's not going to hurt you. See, like that didn't hurt me. When it goes to full length, the steam, that's when it's going to hurt you. So you don't have to be overly anal about that. Just get down to that bottom area on the left. Yeah, just get down here. And now while you're down here, you see it was too early for me to jump onto that next part. But this next part's a little shortcut. Instead of going all the way back up around, take this shortcut and get a 1-up. It's very easy to take. So just get on this track, wait for the steam to go by, grab your 1-up, and you're pretty much done with the level at this point. Now, when you jump up on this ledge, you're going to probably take a hit if you don't expect this thing to explode. So, see, watch, it'll explode on me now. And I took damage. So, I guess if you get all the way to the right, you can avoid taking that little hit. But this is a very easy boss when you know the positioning, as you can see. This part, it almost looks like you have to mash buttons or something, but I don't think you have to participate in this at all. It's just a cutscene. So you don't have to worry about pressing the buttons or anything as far as I could tell. Yeah, and good work. That was the hardest level. So, aside from a few nuances that I'm going to have to explain, I think it'll help for me to explain them. It'll make things a lot simpler to understand. Because I didn't understand it when I got to some of these parts. So, just trial and error and, shit like that. But, I think once you hear my explanations and see the gameplay, I think these parts won't be too difficult for anyone. I mean, it does take some reacting and such, but it's pretty standard. I mean, these games are on the easier side for these older games, you know. Including the Genesis one. If you enjoy this, definitely play the Genesis one. It's a completely different game than this, but it's very similar. So it's also made by Konami, so check out Tiny Toons on Genesis as well. I think it's called Buster's Hidden Treasure or something. I have a playthrough of it up on my channel as well. Yeah, so here you're just going to, like, you know, hit this little roulette, see where it lands, and then you'll get your little mini game. These are like a fun little break between levels to try to grab some one-ups. It's kind of a nice setup because, you know, you might get a little tense during a level, then you come in here and you get a little time to relax and try to get some one-up. So, yeah, this I couldn't tell you how to do this well because I just, you know, I was just fucking around trying to line shit up. I didn't really understand how the tiles moved. So, yeah, you're not going to get any good tips from me here. But like I said, as long as you know how to play the game, you don't even need the one-ups in these stages. Once you, you know, I think once I explain everything and then you play the game for yourself, it won't really matter. But yeah, you want to try for this one. You want to try to line up this path for him so he can go and, like, you know, get to the apples. And he moves really slow, but I don't understand really how, you know, what moves what. I didn't really understand how everything correlates, but I think I ended up getting like 3 or 4 one-ups anyway, so I ended up still getting a ton of one-ups. So it wasn't, you know, it wasn't difficult. I was just fucking around and ended up working out pretty decently. But like I said, by the time I beat the game, I really didn't need them. I had plenty of lives left over. Continues. I mean, he moves at a really, really slow fucking pace. But, you know, it does give you a lot of time to create the path. I do like how there's little bonus games in between the levels. You know, it breaks things up. It's kind of cool. It is a very good game. There's a few parts that I thought were kind of bullshitty. I mean, they were cool ideas, but I thought the football section was kind of bullshitty. It's very touchy, you know, as far as if you grab the ball or not. And, I mean, the enemies move so fucking fast you don't really have time to react and try to dodge them. So you pretty much have to keep passing to beat it reliably. But that's what I found anyway. I'm sure there's people who do it better. Also, if you play this on easy, you get passwords, but apparently the levels are shorter and the bosses are removed. And there may even be levels missing. So I'd recommend, you know, you could play it on easy if you want, but you'll probably just beat it very easily. If you want more of the full game experience, I'd recommend just playing it on normal. You won't get passwords, but just use save states to practice the levels and then just do the whole game over, you know, and you'll have it down. For those ghosts, I don't really spend a lot of time in those ghosts. I like to run past them pretty much. I don't like fucking around too much. For this, you know, use these balls here to, like, launch you. And just make sure you clear out the enemies before you go up on that platform. I mean, I'd recommend just you know, there's no need to rush. There's no time or anything. So you can take your time and just get everything set up for yourself. Take out at least one of these guys before you jump up on that ledge, I would say. Because, you know, with 2 of them, it's a little dense up there, a little crowded. So, you know, once you get one of them out of there, it's easily take out the other one. And take out these little ball demons. Now, I did spend some time here fucking around. But I left it in. I mean, it didn't take me... I wasn't fucking around for too long. The reason I was fucking around, I was trying to get those carrots, because I didn't remember what was coming up next, and I thought, you know, it'd be good to have the extra health for whatever comes up next. But I'm not sure how you get those. Now that I watched my video over, I'm thinking what you probably have to do, I could be wrong, is go all the way to that right ledge over there, that green ledge on the right, and run off of that and jump from that at full running speed. I'm thinking maybe that would work, but I don't think I tried that. It didn't cross my mind at the time. But if I had to go back, that's what I would try. Otherwise, I have no fucking idea how to get up there. There may be an alternate path or something I missed, but I don't know how to get up there, so I gave it a shot. I tried launching all the way in the air, and then at peak height, I tried doing my dash move in the air to get some extra distance. You know, but I wasn't pulling it off, so, you know. You may have to be standing on one of those other platforms that launches you closer to that edge, but I don't even know. I tried. So, yeah, I was done with that. Here's a free little one up here, so just run up that wall. Make sure to grab that. And just kill these assholes. I think there's 3 enemies here. Just kill this goblin and these ball demons. There's like 2 ball demons, I think. Just kill them. And I think from here you can go up safely without worrying about getting hit. So, you don't really... I didn't need the health really too much. I mean, it would have been nice in the next area, probably. So, yeah, now there's a tricky part here where I would recommend dispatching this fucking bat, this Dracula guy that comes up. I recommend completely killing him. Otherwise, you're going to have a real hard time in this narrow space with these things bouncing up and down. They're going to like shoot you all over the place. You know, these seesaw things. So what I recommend doing is killing the bat and then moving on. You know, you can try to skip the bat and run through it if you want. If you're in a big rush, but I would recommend not doing that. I tried doing that a little bit and it just didn't work out well. After like trying it once or twice, I decided just to fight him. And now the thing with fighting him is it's a little trickier to do here, but the thing is, remember about the invincibility frames and consistently attacking again and again. See how I'm getting him in that loop? He takes a lot of fucking hits, but if you get him in this loop, it's a little tricky because of all the shit in your way. You know, you got all this garbage in your way and you're in this small-ass little confined platform. But if you do that, you should be able to dispatch him fairly easily. Now all you got to worry about is these platforms, which are very easy if you take your time. You know, just follow the path I'm following here. Pretty self-explanatory. But yeah, I do recommend taking out the bat. But if you're adventurers, you're little adventurers, you could try to run past them and try to make the jumps. But it's a big fucking orgy if you try to do that. So I wouldn't recommend it. You know, if you're doing a speed run, you're probably not watching this video. That's for sure. But yeah, so kick that shit. You know, this is just basic ass shit. Now, see, I fucked up and I fell. And it actually took me to the end of the level. So I don't know. I couldn't tell you. I don't remember what was up in that area where I fell from. There might have been like some health or something. So I wouldn't recommend necessarily dropping down like I did. That was accidental. But if you do, you'll be all right. You'll be in the next area. And then you'll get the next checkpoint because each new section is a checkpoint as long as you have lives remaining. Now, if you waste your continue, you will start at the beginning of the stage, obviously. All right, so yeah, with this guy's very easy if you take your time. You just got to be a little patient. You know, you don't want to rush and try to get extra hits in. All you have to do is kick the bolts back at him. You know, dodge the light bulbs and kick the bolts at him. When it gets too close, just go up on the platforms and run to the other side. Of course, dodge the shit. You know, don't get hit by the stuff he's throwing, obviously. But yeah, that's about it. Just keep kicking the bolts. Every time you kick the bolt, it'll hit into the machine and damage it. And that's all you're trying to do is damage the machine. If you're too far away, sometimes the bolt won't reach the machine. But, you know. Also, pressing down and jump will let you drop down the platforms. You know, typical as these, a lot of these games have that. That's a good way to get down fast if you need to. I like to keep a good distance between him and me, and, you know, that way I can kick a lot of bolts at the machine in one little, one cycle. You know, you can get a lot of hits in, and then when he starts getting close, just run all the way back to the extreme side and try to get him as far away from you as you can, so you can get a lot of hits on each pass through. And that's it. Remember, you have some invincibility when you do your attack, so don't worry too much about the light bulb hitting you as you're attacking. As long as you're in the middle of the attack, you probably will be okay. You can use the run to get to the other side a little faster, you know. But, yeah, very, very simple fight. It's a fun boss fight, though. I thought it was enjoyable. He does move faster and faster as you get closer. But all you got to do is just be more patient. Just get to the other side. Just play carefully, and you'll be fine. Like I said, if you die on this, you'll start here with. I think I may have lost a few lives on this attempt, or something, maybe 2 lives. But I mean, you'll start here. So as long as you don't drain all your lives on this, you should be fine. And as long as you follow what I'm saying, the game's not going to be too much harder beyond this. Like I said, the second stage, if you beat that, you'd be good to beat the rest of the game. You may just need to take some of my instructions with the controls a little bit later on, which I'll explain. No sense in explaining some of that now because it's not really, you don't really need to know that at this point in the game. The issues I had with the controls were more about the dashing mechanic and how that worked, and I'll explain that better. And the other issue was that the football game that's coming up next, it plays totally different from the rest of the game, pretty much. So, whenever you have parts that play different than the rest of the game, you have to get used to the new mechanics. So I'll try to explain the best way, and it's actually I actually had Bob Rupples, the notorious Bob Rupples, try the part out, and he figured it out. Because I was kind of burnt out. I for some reason, it was taking me a long time, and I wasn't figuring it out. So, yeah, he ended up figuring it out, and then he showed me his technique he was using. So then I was like, all right. So then I got it, and then I worked on the rest of the game. So yeah, I'll explain that technique. For this part, I don't know if it's possible to do this without luck. You just have to pick like the heavier character. You have to try to outweigh your opponent for this bonus game. I just pick random shit. I usually get like 2 or 3 1-ups just picking random ass shit. But I don't know, maybe if you pay attention at the beginning, you can see what the computer has and you can, pick it correctly. But I mean, I can't imagine it's worth all that fucking trouble. I mean, like I said, you don't need all the 1-ups. I mean, unless you're playing on the hardest setting, maybe it would help. But I mean, by that point, you probably know the game anyway. You don't really need all the 1-ups. But I don't know. I don't have any really great tips for the bonus games or anything. Now, I did edit deaths out of this playthrough because I thought it was going to be redundant, even though the game does have limited lives and continues. And there is some tension involved with that that's worth showing. If you run out of lives and continues, you lose the whole game, have to restart. But I didn't think that was entertaining to watch because I had so many lives and continues left over. It really wasn't a lot. There wasn't a lot of tension there to show. Now, my Jim Power run, that's an extremely difficult game. That shit gets intense. But I ended up beating that without losing a continue. But it gets fucking intense. So I left everything in with that. But, it's just a discretionary thing. Some games I'll leave in all the deaths. Other games I just think that the pacing is better to edit them out. But I always explain everything and I'm always transparent with my videos. So I'm not going to be like those long play videos where they edit out all the deaths and make it look like the guy played flawlessly. I don't do that kind of shit. I'll always explain what I edited. So there's not going to be any tricks. So yeah, so with this part, what you want to do is you want to focus on the X on the ground. You want to keep picking pass because that gives you the most distance. So pick pass, hold right on the controller. As soon as you see that X pass, start running back and jump and catch the ball. You're going to have to practice it to get used to it, but once you get it down, it's not hard to do. And you can fuck up a few times. As long as you make some progress, the game won't boot you out. If you fail, you'll lose a life if you fail too many times. But aside from that, just keep doing that. Even though the guy, even though as soon as you grab the ball, you're probably going to get hit and get the ball knocked out of your hand. That's okay. Because you're still making like 7 yards of progress just by catching the ball. Because it's not sending you back. So just make sure you catch the ball. Don't worry about trying to dodge the guys too much. Just select pass on the menu, hold right, and as soon as you see that X pass your line of sight, just don't even look at your character. Just look at the X, and then as soon as you see it pass, run back to the left immediately, jump and grab the ball. And once you get used to the timing, it's very easy. I was having a hard time with it, but like I said, I had the legendary Bob Rupples fuck around with the controller for a little while, and he figured it out pretty fast. So, I'm fucking stubborn. I was probably trying the same shit over and over again. Sometimes I need a fresh perspective, I even looked up a FAQ, and I was looking at videos and shit, and I wasn't really... I was like, you know what, fuck this game. I was about to shut the shit off, like, permanently. I was like, you know what, I'll just fucking work on something else. Because sometimes I get fucking annoyed. I was like, this was kind of breaking the game for me, strangely enough. You can see how easily I get frustrated sometimes. But I just don't like weird, shitty, kind of sloppy mechanics, and this feels very sloppy to me. But luckily, it's forgiving. Once you know what to do, you can miss some catches and stuff, so it's not, like, really fucking anal. So, I mean, it's somewhat enjoyable once you actually know how to play it. But, I mean, like, if you try to pick the run option, it's, like, insanely difficult to get past those guys. I mean, the only way I've seen people do it is by using the long play where those runs are completely edited. World of Long Plays, they edit the shit out of their runs where there's, like, no deaths, no damage. I mean, it's cool. It shows the game and everything, but they should put in the description that they cheat through the whole game. Because it's not like something you can watch and try to imitate. It's pretty much like all save state, load state manipulation. But yeah, anyway, aside from that rant, just keep choosing pass and just keep catching it as I explained, and you'll beat it. It's a short level, so it's cool. There's only 6 levels, and you get a little freebie here, and then you got another bonus game, so you'll get some more 1-ups, hopefully. So yeah, once you know how to do it, it's actually good because it's a level where you won't lose any lives, and then you'll get another bonus game right away. So that's 2 bonus games in a row, pretty much. So you'll have a ton of lives. And you're getting close to the end of the game, so. Now, if you don't know what to do in that part, And, you know, it can make you kind of hate the game a little bit. You know, I'm not lying. I'm not going to lie. I was getting fucking pissed. But it does play very different than the rest of the game, that's for sure. So yeah, we got another bonus game coming up here. I think this is the weigh-in bullshit again, which I just pick a bunch of random characters. So you may get a few one-ups here just fucking around picking random characters like I did. Or you may actually understand how to line them up or something. I wasn't paying attention, and I don't really know. I didn't memorize who's heavier than who, you know, who's fatter, who needs to go on a diet. I mean, I don't fucking know. I mean, if I could look at them and line them up, it would be nice, you know, and then I could be like, ah, yeah, this guy looks fatter than this guy. And, it's always the same as far as who's heavier than who. You know, that doesn't change, but you'd have to really be paying attention. I think the beginning it shows you on the right side the computer opponents that are going to be lining up, but you got to really, you know, you got to have a good memory. Suppose you could pause it and write it down. I don't know. I didn't give a shit enough about that. But yeah, hopefully this will be able to. I'm hoping that I can describe this stuff well enough just to break it down and make it. Because when you see videos, you don't always know what the controls are like. You don't know all the details. So that's why I've been trying to. Even games that are not that hard, I've been trying to provide a breakdown. I think this game took me a few hours to beat, but I stopped keeping track of the time. I just didn't really care. I just wanted to play it, and you know, I was practicing, so I didn't really. Usually, I'll record even when I'm practicing. I'll record so that I can see how long the game took me to beat. Just that, you know, I kind of like keeping track of it lately, but I didn't really give a shit. I got annoyed. I almost shut the game off, like I said, permanently after the football scene. You know, even though the second level is the hardest level, the football level was the most annoying for me because I didn't understand what they wanted me to do. The second level is at least trial and error, you know, you understand, and the game plays the same. They didn't change the way it plays. This is very easy. It's very hard to die on most of this level, except for the end part. But these parts are very easy. Just jump on the bubbles. Don't stay on any single bubble for too long, or it'll break. But even if you fall all the way to the bottom, if you land on the middle balloon at the bottom, you'll still be alive. So, I mean, I've fallen before and I survived. So it's pretty fucking... And you don't have to worry about hitting into the plane. Originally, I was worried about, like, jumping and hitting into the plane and getting damaged. His plane does not hurt you. All he does is drop bubbles, so don't even worry about it. You can pass right through the plane. It's in the background, so you're not going to worry about touch it. Yeah. And for this, just jump on the balloons. You don't want them to get too high or they will pop. So just jump on them immediately. If you take this alternate path here to the left, you'll get a 1-up. And some stars, so I'd recommend doing that. Now, if you get 100 stars, you get a 1-up. That's the only purpose that I know of them. So, yeah, so go here, and that's it. This is very easy. You're just going to be, you know, stay on the platform and just, you know, use your invincibility frames to fall down on the birds. Try to hit the highest one and come down on the lower ones because your attack lasts a while, so... Yeah, like that. Like try to hit the top ones first and just kind of descend on them with your attack. I think that's the way you're supposed to do it. It's very easy. I think I do take a hit or something at the end, but it doesn't matter. I think this is a checkpoint anyway, but I never died here, so I don't know. Usually whenever there's a new scene, it's a checkpoint, though, so it's probably a checkpoint. Now, there's a part coming up that's... it's very tricky until you understand what you have to do. There's actually a few parts coming up that are going to be tricky, but I think I'll be able to help with it. Clarify some things. You know, you always got to practice these games, obviously, but at least you'll know what you're practicing. That's the main goal of me making these videos is you know, I also want to kind of make a little entertaining video for somebody who just wants to watch the game and maybe likes to have some commentary with the game, but, you know, I try to make it into a tutorial, even though it's really just me playing through the game for the first time is all it really is. But I try to put commentary over it and explain what I did and make it into like a tutorial. If I really wanted to make, you know, more refined tutorials in the future, I would play through the games like, you know, without taking damage and things like that and play a lot better. But, you know, the channel hasn't gotten to that point yet, and it would be a lot of work for me to do that with each game, you know, because I play through so many games. But I would definitely, you know, if the channel got bigger, I'd consider increasing the quality of everything, obviously. Yeah, so for that part, it's pretty self-explanatory. Run up the walls and jump off the walls to hit into the little thing, the little items you have to collect in the center. It's very self-explanatory. The flippers will automatically hit you and launch you up. Just don't fall through the bottom of the floor or you'll lose a life. It's very easy. This part is tough, though. This part coming up is tough if you don't know what to do. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. For this part, run immediately to the right. You want to hit dash. Now, this is where you're going to get used to how the dash controls work. Once you hit dash, do not hit dash again. It's going to stay. You're going to stay running for the whole level. So then all you have to do is, after you run up each wall, hit jump and left, jump and right, etc. You have to zigzag. So you have to match the direction that he's going to be running next. So you hit jump, then left, jump, then right, jump, then left, jump, then right. And you have to make sure you line up the way I did. You have to line up with one of those pillars to run out of the stage correctly. There's a part where if you're not lined up right, you'll just keep dying. So just, if you're having trouble with it, make sure you watch exactly where I jump and land to. You need to do that exactly. There's very little leniency. The stage moves very fast. You have to have it memorized perfectly to beat it. And you have to react immediately. So it is a little tricky. It's really not as hard as it looks once you know how the controls work. Just remember, I was trying to hit dash again and again. And if you do that, you're going to stop your dash and you're going to fuck everything up. So you need to just hit dash once and just let your character run. He'll run through the whole stage. Just let him run. But you have to direct him. So after each time you jump off the wall, make sure you're jumping off the wall and facing in the next direction that you have to go. And just repeat that for each direction in like a zigzag pattern, kind of, left, right, left, right, left, right. And then there's the part, like I said, you have to be attached to the correct wall. If you're not, you'll just die. Because he's going to run up the wall, and then he's going to run up the wall and then to the right and then back down another wall. And you have to be attached to the correct one. So it's just trial and error. But just, if you're having trouble, watch exactly what I do. Attach to the same walls and make the same, movements. And if you do that, and you keep in mind that you only have to hit dash once, all you got to do is activate the dash. So if you have any other questions about that, I'll try to explain it better. But I think that'll probably be enough information to allow you to practice it and get it down. I didn't know that. I had to figure that out because I didn't understand what the fuck was going on. That was a very annoying part when I didn't understand how the dash really worked. Because there are no tutorials in this game. So, you play around with the controls. And, you don't really learn the full depth of some of the mechanics. You just use what you need at the time. So I had not practiced anything or messed around with it too much to understand how it worked. The dash is the most confusing mechanic. That's the only thing that takes a little bit of getting used to. So yeah, that was just another bonus stage. You pretty much, for that racquetball game, I'm a little bit late on the commentary for that, but for that racquetball game, you just want to line up the middle of your character with the ball. You do not have to try to line up the racket with the ball, as I was initially doing when I first got to that stage. Just line up your character with the ball and you'll hit it. So keep that in mind, and you'll probably do a lot better if you do that. Every time you swing your racket, you will stop in place, so don't just mash the button, obviously. You got to try to time it. That's about it. If you hit it 15 times in a row, you'll get a 1-up. If you hit some of the characters, you can also get a 1-up. So yeah, for this part, you want to get up here and get this key. But before you do that, run to this edge and get this 1-up here. There's some health, and then there's a 1-up up there. I would recommend getting it. It's worth getting. And then just run back to the left and make your way to the left side. For this part, just jump normally. Don't try to dash until you get to the ladder. Then dash and jump to the ladder to make the ladder jump. But for that little short jump before the ladder, don't try to dash. It makes it a lot harder to make that jump. I was falling off because of that. And, because you get in the mindset where you have to keep dashing and jumping, and sometimes you get stubborn with that. But just remember, sometimes it's better to take it slow and make normal jumps as well. And then once you have the key, I guess you just go here, maybe crouch down on it, and I don't even know if you have to do that, and then just run to the right. It's an easy section. And this is the last level, and the last boss is not really bad when you know what to do. It's a little tricky, but it's hard. It's very hard if you don't know what to do, obviously. But I'll explain. I can explain it pretty well, I think. For this part, you want to be lined up with these barriers so you don't take damage. If you do get hit by the environmental explosion, that's the environmental explosion. If you're not behind one of those barriers, you will get hit, but you only take one piece of damage. So it's not the end of the fucking world. You know, you don't have to restart the level just by getting hit once or something. And they give you some health. But try to be behind those things. And, you know, this level, I found this section extremely easy. If you have trouble with it, then you'll just have to, like, learn it of where the things are placed. But I don't think you're going to have much trouble with this. If you got this far, this part's probably going to be, like, one of the easier parts of the game. So, yeah, I like staying on the bottom here. Maybe you can grab some stuff up top, but, I mean, it doesn't really matter at this point. You should be able to beat the boss. The thing with the last boss is, you know, you should be using save and load states to learn stuff. So you should be using it to learn the boss, and you should be ready to... I always advise using save and load states to practice sections and get everything down. Then you can beat the game legit. You don't really want to play by the game rules unless you're like a purist or something. Initially, because it's not efficient practice to get sent back to the beginning of the game when you already have half of the game memorized. You know, and you're going to be sent back every 5 seconds on a boss. It's just not. It's not an efficient way to practice. So, you know, you wouldn't give a musician shit for practicing a section of music again and again to master it. So there's really no reason to have a purist attitude as far as I'm concerned about using save and load states just to practice and learn a game. I don't see how that is anything negative or illegitimate. You know, as long as you got the skill, it doesn't matter how you got it. You got the skill, so yeah, here you just hit this little switch, and it's going to switch gravity every time. You just do that a few times so the ball breaks through everything. If you let this guy pinball around over here, you'll get some extra stars and shit. You can if you want. You can let him bounce off that center bumper and get a bunch of stars. I didn't give a shit. Now this part's a pain in the ass. But I picked the easy course because I didn't want to make this go any longer than I had to. What you need to do here is you're going to run and then jump as I show. But what you need to do is you have to hit the little bird buttons, the ones that show that bird face guy. I don't know the names of the characters because I don't watch these shows. But you want to run on the buttons that show the little birds. And that's going to give, and when you hit that bird, it's like hitting the bird statue. It gives you more of your dash meter. It refills your dash meter and allows you to keep running up the wall. So yeah, so basically you don't want to hit the ones that say out because then you got drums coming down that are going to damage you eventually. Because if it lands on you in the bottom, the drum, then it'll take a piece of health. It's a pain in the ass. So you want to line yourself up and make your jump so that you're hitting those bird buttons with the bird face like that. Yeah, pretty much like that. That's good enough. But yeah, just keep that in mind. You'll probably have to practice that. There is a little middle point checkpoint they give you, but if you know, it is a pain in the ass. You're pretty much home free at this point. There's not much left. So just take your time, kill these guys. It's not like Ghouls and Ghosts where the enemies fucking stand on the ladder and don't let you climb up. And I mean, Ghosts and Goblins on the, I think, second or third level where the guys stay on the fucking ladders. At least here they don't do that shit. So it's very easy. Just take your time. Go up to this top area and use this, run into this rubber band and get launched to the next little segment here. And this is very easy. Just take your time before you proceed. I mean, yeah. It's extremely easy. There's a part that's a little tricky after this, but you do get some health back, so it's really not that bad. And then you get, you get a checkpoint at the boss anyway, as long as you have some lives left. So I already had 10 lives left over by this point. So now just climb down here. Just go all the way down, and you're gonna go back up around. And you just want to climb. You want to climb up these ladders. You got to watch out for those those orange fucking balls and the enemies. Obviously, they launch out at inopportune areas. But just grab the health up here. You'll get 4 pieces of health at this point. Try to kick the ball if you can, so it doesn't hurt you, because you get that invincibility like that. Try to do that, but don't take the damage, obviously. But just try to make your way up and try to minimize your damage by doing your attacks when the ball comes towards you. And get up the ladder. See like that, get it out of there. It does come back very fast, so just be aware of it. And that's about it. Now this boss can be tricky if you don't know what to do, but I'm going to explain it. I'm going to try to explain it. This wasn't the best run, but I've had where I only took maybe 1 hit before and beat it, so in practice. But here I almost didn't beat it, but you'll see what to do. You'll get the idea. What you want to do is, first you want to hit the boss himself to make him bounce around the level. So start off by trying to hit the boss first. Dodge that beam, but yeah, hit the boss first. And try to keep him bouncing around by hitting into him again and again. And while you're doing that, kick the part of the gun that has the pod on the top. By doing that, you'll spin the gun in various directions and make it hard for him to grab the gun again. And in the process, he's going to get hit. So the main thing is kick him and bounce him around and then start kicking the gun and playing around with the directions and making it go all over the place. The gun is a little weird because sometimes you catch on to it and you're walking on it and it can kind of fuck you up a little bit. But the only thing you have to dodge is the actual laser that comes out. And I guess if you, I don't know if you touch the bad guy if he'll hurt you, but you mainly just need to dodge the laser. And just keep kicking the boss. And when he gets hit, like maybe 7 times or something, or I'm not sure exactly how many times on normal, that ends the level. So yeah, if you don't know what's going on, it can be confusing if you're just trying to hit the boss. You got to get him to hit into the laser. The laser is the only thing that actually hurts him. So yeah, kick the boss, bounce him around, and then while he's bouncing around, you can cause him to be more confused and get fucked up by the laser by changing the direction. Whenever you get a chance, try to kick the gun and the where the pod is located, and it'll move the gun around. And that's pretty much it. I'd recommend, of course, practicing that as with anything. You know, practice those areas. Practice the last boss and beat it maybe 3 times in a row so you're confident with it. And then when you get to it, you shouldn't have a problem. You should be ready to beat it. Like I said, the game is pretty easy to moderate, but there is a few tricky parts. The second stage can be pretty tough until you memorize it. It's not really hard when you know what to do. It's a little finicky with the running and dashing can be kind of annoying. The screen will scroll past you and kill you and shit like that, but you know, it's just a matter of knowing what the game wants you to do. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the commentary. If you have any questions about any of the parts or how to play certain parts better, I'll try to explain it better. And let me know if there's any specific games that you'd like to see me play through and do a tutorial on. Also, you know, I do extreme modes and hardest difficulty settings and things like that as well. And thanks for watching.